makeup, wardrobe. Mm. Dun, 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 dun. We live, people. We live, everybody. Shout out to everybody in YouTube world. We're gonna chop it up, man. Peace to the Dime Game Division. Follow me on Instagram at CBoogie Productions. I'm up here today with the co-host that loves to do the most. We got Rose in the building again, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
Y'all know what time it is, and we're gonna chop it up about a few things. Got a couple things on my chest hairs. We're gonna talk about this dude Benzino. You know what I mean? Benzino been lighting social media up for about the past month now. You know, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but Benzino has really been on the radar of a lot of people. Benzino always been a wild dude. You know what I mean? This latest little bit of effery he got into don't really surprise me. But your man Benzino is in the news for all the wrong things. Put it like that. Look, we're going to start with this. One, there's some salacious tapes of Benzino talking to a transformer. We all know what that means. I don't really want to get into that too tough. He has denied the allegations. We don't know if this is a Bobby Valentino, Dwight Howard, Young Buck, Eddie Murphy situation. You know, it's a lot of dudes that have been caught with this. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he has denied that. But my thing with a guy like Benzino is, with this latest situation, is like, dog, what you doing, bruh? Showing up at your baby mom's house, right? This is what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, we seen the tapes, everybody. Y'all can go to YouTube, check out the tape. Your man Benzino showed up at his baby mom's crib, the one that he met on Love and Hip Hop. What's her name?
Titi.
Your man Benzino showed up at Titi crib. Althea. You know what I mean? He showed up at Althea's crib, right? And apparently she has some male company over there. You know, he had a nice red truck, by the way. And Benzino, whatever happened between the two men, Benzino lost his cool. The police was called. And he ended up in tears and getting arrested. Now, this is a complete just bad day for a man. You know what I mean? For one, you showed up at your BM crib thinking probably going to see your kid. Maybe if you're lucky, you get a little ton-ton. Right? You're lucky, you get a little ton-ton. And then he gets over there at Titi crib, and there's another dude over there. So Benzino wants to fight the guy. Now, this is typical Benzino. See, let me give y'all the backstory, because there's a lot of younger people that watch the podcast, or people that's just random. They don't know who Benzino is. Benzino is the ex-co-owner of the Source magazine. Remember growing up? Well, you're a little bit younger than me, but you still know about how big the Source magazine was back in the day. That was the premier magazine growing up. You had the Source Awards, all that. So you had Benzino was a co-owner of the Source magazine, and he tried to rap, which was an epic fail.
Oh.
Benzino had one hit, and I know you don't remember.
Yeah, I'm quite young.
You ain't not young. But I know you don't remember. It's a little bit before your time. It was like, I see booty. You don't remember. But that was one of his biggest, but that was it. The other stuff was pretty much mediocre, and he got into a beef with Eminem, and eventually the Source magazine shut down. But Benzino does have a history out here, but he was always a hothead. Benzino, not just him, but him and other people at the Source, they lost the Source magazine because of Benzino's attitude problem, his ego. No, real talk. Not listening to people, stuff like that. This is nothing new for this guy. I'm just giving you the backstory on who he is. So this is not a one-time thing that Benzino has got himself into, this latest situation. Benzino has been this way since the mid-90s. And everybody knows it. If you're a follower of hip-hop, if you ever read the Source magazine, if you into hip-hop culture, you understand Benzino is who he is. So when Benzino popped up on Love and Hip Hop, I was a little shocked, because of where he came from. But then when I found out he was broke, I said, "Oh, I get it." That most broke rappers end up on hip hop.
So Ebony magazine is like what Source magazine used to be.
Ebony,
I mean, Source magazine is what Ebony magazine is now. One of the bigger magazines now. What can you?
in terms of hip hop,
Okay.
I would say yeah.
Okay.
What World Star kind of not the same, but what World Star was,
If it was a magazine.
if it was a magazine, you know how big World Star was.
Yeah.
Like dudes was getting knocked out.
Yeah.
They be like World Star, like
Yeah.
World Star was a metaphor. Like yo, that's a World Star moment, real talk.
Yeah.
Cause cats was getting slapped in the back of the neck hairs, and they'd be like World Star or whatever, right? An old lady fall down the
It was a
step.
movement.
Yo, man, especially on the East Coast, this was yo. If you tripped and fell on a slick little piece of ice, dudes was like World Star. So, but I would say it was World Star to where World Star is to the digital world. That's what the Source magazine was to, the magazine world.
That makes sense.
So anyway, moving on. I just had to give you that brief history on Benzino. So when he ended up on Love and Hip Hop, right? I wasn't surprised when I found out everything that happened. You know what I mean? He went broke. And I would never get on here and bash anybody for going through hardships in life. We all go through it. But from having a company worth $50 million to not being able to afford an apartment, I got to clown you. That's horrible money management, for one.
Right.
Horrible money management. And for two, I know why he lost the Source magazine. He didn't lose the Source magazine because, it was a bad market, bankruptcy. He lost it because he was ignorant. He didn't listen. He didn't know anything about business. He had no business acumen. And he was a hothead. So when I see Benzino in handcuffs and constant run-ins with the police, random hotel rooms, phone calls with transformers, stuff like that, I'm not fully surprised that Benzino would find himself in this very peculiar situation. Now, we're going to get to the topic at hand because I want to use Benzino as an example of emotional men and why emotional men will always have problems with the opposite sex. So I'm just using Benzino as an example. I ain't got no issue with Benzino.
Like an avatar.
Yeah, like an avatar. And shout out to Benzino's neck. No, real talk. I've been trying to find it. And so, Benzino has lost a lot in his life, including his neck. Yo, hold on. Let me start right here. Let me start. Benzino was clearly on some type of steroid. You know what I mean? And he's clearly on steroids. It's clear. I just wanted to put that out there because it made sense to me why he got all these rage problems. He's clearly on the roids.
Damn.
But anyway, so emotional men. Let's go ahead and move the conversation forward. I think I'm gonna start by asking you a quick little question. We understand that emotional men, they get women too. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, they do.
Like, could be fortunately, could be unfortunately, but we understand that emotional men get women too. Some women prefer emotional men. Now, you got levels. That's my favorite term. You got levels. You know what I'm saying? You got some dudes that can articulate their emotions to a woman. And then you got some dudes that's just downright emotional.
True.
You see what I'm saying? To the point where you see a guy like Benzino start crying. You know what I mean? Outright crying and want to fight a man. This is a 55-year-old man. Benzino is not 25. Right. He's not 18. He's not even 30. Benzino is almost 60.
Wow.
Out here trying to fight a man because a man showed up to his baby mom crib. So what I'm saying is, from a woman's point of view, you know what I mean? Obviously, we can't speak for all women, but how do women process? How do y'all understand? And how do y'all deal with emotional men. How does that make y'all feel as a woman? Like chemically, emotionally, psychologically, what happens to women when they are in the presence or even in a relationship with an emotional man?
That's a good question. Well, if if I had to choose, I think women like emotional men.
What? Break
But
it down.
there's levels. There's levels.
Break it down.
If there's unemotional men, where you cannot read him. He doesn't talk about his emotions at all. He doesn't react. He doesn't.
Like the strong silent type.
Yeah, the strong silent. You're always wondering, mysterious. He doesn't talk about his emotions. You don't know how he feels about you. You're always wondering, and you try to do things to like trigger him, and it doesn't work. So that's the unemotional men, and then there's the emotional, articulate men, which is, I believe, probably one of the best. Well, the controlled emotional. No. The controlled, articulate man. That's ideal.
Well, typically if a person can articulate themselves, I would say there's a large sense of control there.
Right.
Because it does take a lot to formulate how you feel and to put it into a sentence form where another person can comprehend it.
Yeah.
That means you clicking on a lot
Yeah,
of intelligence,
that's
man.
ideal. That's
'Cause
ideal.
I ain't lying to you. But go
Right.
ahead.
That's
Especially
ideal.
black men. We really bad at communicating.
Right. And then
Well, I didn't need the cosign, but go ahead.
and then there's the emotional, uncontrollable, fly off the handle type man, the Benzinos of the world. And
I mean, this guy started crying. You got to
Yeah.
understand.
that is extreme. And the question was, how do women respond to it? Or
I said, how do women respond? How does it make you feel in the presence of an overly emotional man? You know what I mean? Emotionally, psychologically.
yeah, so in the presence of that man that's unstable, we're unstable. We feel like oh my God, like if you're acting this way, then I need to panic. Because we get our cues, from our men, like, okay, if he's scared, I'm definitely scared. You know, if he's irrational, then he's supposed to be the stabilizer of us. They say that men are the ocean floor and women are the ocean. So if the ocean floor is having an earthquake, what's going on with the water? It's gonna go everywhere, So that's ideally we want to be with a man that's controlled and stable and emotionally sound.
Emotionally sound. I can dig it.
But sometimes when we're dysfunctional, we like that. I want to add that. We like the emotional, unstable guy because it puts us in the roller coaster of feelings that we crave as women, because we don't want things to be all the way boring at times. So we kind of like that too, because some women, we get a kick out of seeing a guy get angry a little bit, just to see, how much it kind of shows how much where we are on the hierarchy of his world. And it's kind of weird.
So now, like I say, we got levels, right? Now you got a guy like Benzino. He has a history of crying on camera. You know what I mean? This is crazy. But we seen him on Love and Hip Hop crying. We seen him on camera crying. You dig? So at the end of the day, you got a guy like Benzino crying on camera, and that would put him in the category as overly emotional. You know what I mean? Because most men been in situations where you've been so mad You know what I mean? You about to fight somebody. You might just have tears coming down your eyes for no reason. That's different. Benzino was literally crying, and I think a large part of that was because, you know, he showed up at his baby mom crib, and it was another dude over there. You see what I'm saying? And that wasn't a good look. And he got upset, and he damaged the dude's vehicle, and he wanted to fight the guy. This is a 55-year-old man now. You know what I mean? Honestly, I expect this behavior from a guy that's 22.
Right.
Real talk, I really do, because a 22-year-old, what they know about life, right?
Right.
55 is like, bruh, like, give it up. And you on the steroids, and you wilding, and we still can't find your neck. So, you know, it's one of them things like I said in the title of this podcast, emotional men like Benzino, they always gonna have problems with women because the women ain't the problem. He's the problem. He can't control himself. And his track record, not just with women and life, right? His track record says, hi, I'm Benzino. I'm out of control. That's pretty much who he always been. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't surprise me how Benzino gets with a lot of these women and they end up leaving him, because over time, you know, the guy not sturdy, man. He not stable, not even in his own emotions.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And it might be cute at first for a woman, like, oh, he gonna take me on this roller coaster ride, and
Right.
he gonna take me up the mountain and bring me down, and we're gonna do a little sidewinding.
Yeah.
But over time, a woman can really just lose respect for you, like, bruh, because you start embarrassing yourself. Let alone embarrassing the woman, embarrassing the family. I mean, like, you hear interviews from Benzino's daughter, his own daughter, disowning him, talking about him. You hit a low point in life. You see what I'm saying? Like, when you and your daughter both on social media doing different interviews and people asking questions about one another, and both y'all taking shots at each other. I mean, the guy's off the chain. So, boom. Emotional men, like I say, it's definitely levels, but I don't think a guy should be totally unavailable either. I've seen women leave dudes for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, my thing is this. After a certain age, you got to know how to put together a sentence, man. That is as simple as that. And I'm going to be honest. I don't even like to talk. And this is, I'm sorry. I know people going to get mad. Particularly with black men. It's like we talk in code, right? A lot of niggas talk in circles. You know what I mean? It can never be a matter of fact, direct. You got to understand, I'm a military baby. I mean, well, I was so young when I joined the military. Not a military baby like that, but I was so young when I joined the military. I was raised in the army, right? So I understand effective communication.
Right.
When I first joined the military, my communication was horrible. I mean, seriously, it was horrible to the point, I ain't gonna get into the stories. I got into trouble over this, but over time, I had to learn how to speak to everybody. I had to speak to my superiors. I had to speak to my subordinates. You know what I mean? So when I got a little bit better at my communication, I started to notice, I'm like, okay, that is a major issue with a lot of dudes in communication. You have to know how to articulate yourself under any given circumstance. And I'm going to tell you why it's so important. See, a lot of people like, fuck, F that. I ain't got to do that. I'm going to tell you why knowing how to communicate is important. Let me sip this caramel.
By the way, your communication is impeccable. I mean, you helped me with mine.
I mean, give me a little bit right there. I'm going to tell you why you got to know how to communicate effectively. Because you never know where you're going to be in harm's way. When I was in a war zone, right, this was back in the day, you know, when I was out, you know, probably on the other side of the world in some crazy country fighting a war. There were times where all we had was our radios. I mean, clearly that's all you got when you leave out the wire.
Right.
We don't have all the extra body language and everything that you can read on somebody. All we got is our radios. Dog, you got one time to get some grid coordinates right. Somebody could lose their life. Like if you talking to some Black Hawks and they up there and a soldier just got their leg blown off or a soldier just got shot and you got to give some grid coordinates, you don't have 2 times to get that right. You got 1 time to get those grid coordinates right. You got to get this soldier picked up in a certain amount of time or they can bleed out. So you don't have time to play these little Negro games and talking and trying to be cute and all this shit. No. You better get that right the first time. You see what I'm saying? More than that, you know, when you're in the military, there's always people up under you that's watching you. So you got to train your troops. My first sergeants, my sergeant majors, they didn't play that crap where if my soldiers messed up or they didn't know about something that I was off the hook. My sergeant major called me. I could be at home on leave. I'll get a phone call. Like, what's going on with your soldier? I'm like, I don't know, first sergeant. I don't know, top. We call it first sergeant top. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, top. I'm at the crib lamping. Well, it's your fault. You ain't training right. When you get back, come see me.
Dang.
So, if my communication ain't right, if I'm not training my soldiers by the number, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, boom. And it might get tedious. It might seem like we beating a dead horse. But when you get in front of that, when you get inside that war zone, you're going to figure out very quickly who got good communication and who don't.
Right.
Period. So I say that to say a lot of dudes don't think it's important to know how to effectively communicate and articulate how you feel and da-da-da-da. Nah, dog, you better learn these skills. I didn't think I needed it until I needed it. Yo, give me a little bit on that shit. That was hard. That was hard. I didn't think I needed it
until you needed it.
Until I needed it. You know what I mean? It's one of them type of things in life, right? So,
wow. Yeah, that makes sense.
Boom. Like, let me just go ahead and put a finishing point on this thing. So, like, a lot of dudes be like, you know, you got a lot of dudes that talk like mumble rappers when they trying to communicate, or they beating around the bush, or. And here's the thing when you're talking to Negroes, right? Let's just be honest. When you're talking to Negro males in particular, this is I'm just being 100. If you don't know how to connect dots, you are finished out here. Because, you know, niggas only going to tell you a little bit.
That's true.
Of what they think you want to hear. They're going to leave out mad facts.
Right.
So you got to make a decision. You got to bust a move.
Right.
You got to make a determination based off of a little bit of information that they give you. But if you on point, if you got your stuff together, you can connect some dots real quick. I thoroughly, I have a PhD on this Negro. I really do, man. Like,
figure outer.
I have a doctorate, man, on this Negro. And a lot of people think I be laughing and stuff like that. But I really, really do, man. I have a doctorate on this Negro.
Think about when your life is on the line and you got somebody, you're in a life and death situation and your communication got to be A1 because you don't have that much time to talk your way out of something.
A1 from day one. It got it. I mean, it has to be, man. And so anyway, let's go back to the women aspect of things. And I don't consider myself an excellent communicator, but for Negro standards, I'm top 10 percentile.
Top tier.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. So, and I'm happy with that. But I've had a lot of women tell me over my years, like, "Wow, like I really like the way you speak to me," or, you know what I mean. It could be just the voice. It could just be how I will thoroughly explain something. Or, you know, a lot of times they ask me a question. I won't beat around the bush. Is this or is that?
Right. Ooh, that's the worst. Whenever you ask a question and somebody, it's not yes or no and then explain. It's I'm going to explain. I'm going to beat around the bush. I'm going to go all the way around and then not even give you a yes or no.
Yeah. This is why, right? Yo, what up, Duality? This is why anytime you're speaking with somebody, right? Particularly if you don't really know them like that, somebody should always have a bottom line on why they're speaking with you. You know what I mean? It don't have to be malicious. It don't have to be very aggressive, but there should be a bottom line. Like, you ever talk to somebody and it just feel like a merry-go-round?
Yes.
And by the time you get off the phone call or the conversation, you think you bugging. You like, yo, I gotta see a therapist because I came into the conversation as the aggressor, but this person ran me in circles, and this is why I don't even do all the buffoonery and the back and forth. I'm like, yo, say what you mean and mean what you say. I can handle truth. I mean, I like it, but I gotta respect truth. Right. But when we play these little games, because here's what a lot of people like with the whack communication. A lot of people like to stay in this very ambiguous space, right? Mm-hmm. Where they like to stay in a gray area so they can act like they didn't know. Plausible deniability. Right. This is another thing from the Negro Handbook. I think I'm gonna write a book called The Negro Handbook. So a lot of Negroes, 101. A lot of niggas like, my bad, said it. A lot of Negroes like to stay in this gray area so they can have plausible deniability. And anytime you go stand in front of a judge, see, the judge is going to tell you, ignorance of the law is no excuse. A lot of Negroes like to play this gray area game with important people. See, they take it out of the Negro community and think that it's going to work in mainstream society, and this is why they get bammed when they go see the judge, because instead of just taking accountability, like I used to work for the Department of Corrections. So I used to have to go to court with inmates, and I've been to a lot of court proceedings where guys got sentenced or whatever the case. And this is what I truly noticed, man. A lot of the judges, not all the time, but a lot of the judges, sometimes they would give the lighter of the sentence to the people that took accountability, that came in the courtroom. They came in there well-mannered, obviously, because there's certain etiquette to a courtroom. Right. You know, that's my favorite. That's my second favorite term, etiquette. Etiquette, yeah. I just think in life, people should have etiquette. I mean, and like a lot of people, I tend to lose people with it. It's like, I was in the gym this morning. I've noticed that 10 years ago, it was still a little bit of etiquette in the gym. Now, a lot of people ain't got etiquette no more. It's a free-for-all. Everybody want to record these videos. They doing this. Everybody losing focus. Back in the day, somebody would use a machine, get up, boom, go to the next one. Now you got everybody thinking that they a brand in the gym. So, you know, people don't even understand etiquette, but I just wanted to put that out there. So you got etiquette in the courtroom, right? And the judge going to tell you, look, you know what I mean? In my courtroom, you're going to respect the rules. If you come in there respectful, if you come in there clean, you look like you're going to court, you shaved, all that stuff, and you tell the judge, look, Your Honor, sir, I ain't going to waste your time. You know what I'm saying? I knew what I did. I understood the consequences of it. I was sober. I was conscious. And the only thing I ask is that you take my record into account when you sentencing me. I've seen a lot of judges give the low end. I mean, they still got time. Don't get it twisted. Ain't nobody walking home. Right. But literally, real talk, I've seen some dudes walk up in the courtroom. This is very embarrassing. Crying. Wow. Your Honor, my mom's in a wheelchair. I got to be there to take her to dialysis. Oh my God. Your Honor, you know, I made a mistake, and you know what I mean, this, that, and the other, all these excuses, and they would get the high end. The first time I got an Article 15, this is military punishment, right? First time I got an Article 15, I remember my first sergeant pulled me to the side before I had to go see the commander. He said, look, when you get in here, don't come up with all the excuses. Take accountability, take your punishment like a man, and walk out. Wow. I ain't gonna lie, I walked up in there because I ain't do nothing wrong, man. I went up in there and I threw my squad leader under the bus, man. I was like, man, he just don't like me. Real talk, was a Hispanic dude, man, and I want to say his name, but I forgot. And he was one of them Spanish dudes with the holes in his face. Oh, dang. He was, one of them Aztecs. No, really, he's one of them Aztecs. So, no, he was one of them. So, I forget this guy's name, but he really had it out for me. So I went in there, I told him the truth. I'm like, look, man, you know what I mean? Y'all leave me alone with this dude. And, you know what I mean? I ain't got enough rank to stand up to him. When I finally stood up, now I'm in the office. Wow. I was like, look, I got a good track record. I ain't never been in no trouble. I ain't no bad dude. Commander wasn't trying to hear it. They was like, Nobody called you a bad dude. You in here for something specific. You see what I'm saying? I mean, completely shut all that down. So anyway, boom, took my rank. I had 2 weeks of extra duty. They docked 2 months of pay, and I was so bitter after that. I went on a tirade. I felt like that was one of my starts to my, angry boogie days. You know what I mean? Because real talk, for real, because certain stuff in life can turn you cold. When I'm like, I'm watching all these other dudes that do half the work I do. I'm out here putting my life on the line every day. Because we was in Iraq when I got this Article 15 too. So I'm like, I'm out here 18 hours a day. It's 134 degrees outside. And y'all gonna come at your boy?
You couldn't use the black card?
That definitely wouldn't work. Like, come on, man. You hit him with one of these. Come on, man. But nah. I was pissed, man. That really turned me bitter. So for a couple years, man, I turned into Angry Boogie. And I finally got up out that, man, but that was a mess. So effective communication is very important, man. You got to know how to put together a sentence, man. I say all that to say a lot of dudes, man, I've noticed, particularly when it comes to certain matters of, how they feel, certain things, or, certain things that a woman is doing, they more lash out instead of talking to the woman. See, when you talk to somebody by the numbers, they ain't got no choice but to respect it. It is not to say you got to do it demeaning or talk to somebody like a child, but you just got to let it be known. When you got clear and concise communication, the woman can never come back to you and say, oh, I didn't know. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, you never told me or whatever. But when you beating around the bush, you giving somebody else plausible deniability. And they can always say, hey, I ain't know what the hell you were talking about.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So emotional men, they always going to have issues with women because, again, the problem is really with them and, themselves and how they feel on the inside. A lot of emotional dudes, they got a lot of rage on the inside. And you can look at the kind of women that they tend to attract. They tend to attract a lot of dysfunctional women. At the end of the day, it just is what it is.
Yeah, broken, dysfunctional women.
Broken, dysfunctional women that need that excitement, right? They need that dopamine release.
Like, I believe every woman wants to feel adored, loved, and respected. And I do think that these emotional men, when they're very unstable, they kind of quench that thirst from a dysfunctional woman to feel the need, like to feel loved. Like if he's angry about what she did or something.
So you're saying some women love to be barked on?
Some women,
or some women like to even be put down,
yes,
stuff like that.
Yeah, well, not put. Well,
I mean, talk down to.
It kind of makes her. You know what it is? The discipline aspect. She probably didn't have it in her childhood, so she may find it in that man.
So a lot of women looking for dads.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a major problem in society, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a very bad, because think about it, if you never had a dad.
That's probably why you got guys like Kevin Samuels and the people that follow him walking around talking about, it's this whole enclave of young women that's chasing older men. But exactly. I guess in that sense, it does make sense because they're looking for daddies.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that corrective, discipline, punishment, putting you down because you did something wrong, quote unquote. Wrong.
Bad girl.
Yeah. And it's actually, when it comes from your man, it's actually a turn on, and it's crazy, but it is.
I think a lot of women are highly dysfunctional.
We are.
Because, if the majority of your relationship is a corrective energy to it, then that's something wrong there. You know what I mean? I'm being 100. That is something wrong. It shouldn't be like that. A relationship is very easy. It's very fluid. You know what I mean? It's a constant. you know, it's a constant pour in, pour out, pour in, pour out. If most of it is a correct, that's something wrong. It's probably somebody doing some nitpicking around there too. Um, I'm just gonna be honest, but it just is what it is.
To kind of keep you in that, um,
Keep you in that humble
yeah,
state of mind.
the humble, am I doing this right? Uh,
Well,
am I good enough?
keep you on your
mentality.
toes.
Yeah. Am I good enough mentality? That's the mentality that they would like you in. That's true. But if a woman had to pick an unemotional, unavailable man and a emotional man, I'll pick the emotional man. I like it's that unemotional that
I don't know,
that
like
don't
most
work.
of our granddads, for a lot of people even watching the show, a lot of our granddads was the strong silent type. Like they didn't say much, but when they said something, you might want to listen. Particularly, and I would say it may not have started out like that, but you know, life hardens us, right? Calcifies us. And I know both of my granddads, mom and dad's side, both of them was like that. Like they didn't say much. Like they would just sit there. My grandfather on my mom's side, I knew he was home because I would smell cigarettes and bacon. This is real talk. I smell it down the street. I'm like, oh, granddaddy home. He ain't say much, man. He'll speak, whatever. He'll do his 1-2. And my granddad on my dad's side, he would just sit in his lazy boy and just watch TV. I mean, he would speak. He wasn't rude, but he was just to himself. Like,
Right.
I'm sure he had a lot of things on his mind or whatever, but you know what I mean? Both of them had, you know, wives, live lives. They had a lot of children. You know what I mean? And a lot of men of that generation was a strong, silent type. They wasn't very overly emotional. You dig? I think now, because of the climate we live in, you know, a lot of women want more from men and all of this stuff. And you know, I think it evolved. I mean, because if you live, even if you listen to hip hop, rap music, look at all the emo rappers like the Drakes, right? Joe Budden was one. You know, it's a lot of these young boys. You know what I mean? It's like emo rap. They rapping about, and this is not a bad thing because I like some of it, but they rapping about a lot of their personal feelings, man. A lot of them rapping about mental illness, depression, and drug use and addiction, and rapping about the times they got their heart broke. This was not a part of hip hop 15 years ago or 20 years ago. This was not. Hip hop was very misogynistic. Hip hop was, I'm going to bust your head when I catch you. And now we got rappers rapping about women that they missed out on. You know, back in the day, it was F that B, it's another one. And then now it's like, nah, you know what I mean? I missed the da-da-da-da-da. They swagging it. So
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's a natural evolution of things that was just inevitable over time. You see what I'm saying? Because women are not being quiet like they used to. So if you had a strong, silent type granddad, more than likely the grandma didn't really bother him like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know how grandma taught, like, that's just how he is, leave him alone. Like, you know how your granddad, you know what I mean? Like, they gave little excuses or whatever. They gave explanations on why he is. But now, women have evolved. So, before, they may not say nothing. Now, the girl coming over there like, hey, you know what I mean? You gonna talk to me today? Or what's going on, what I mean? And it's kind of forcing the men to get up out their shell a little bit. Like, all right, you know what I mean? Let me go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a natural evolution of things. You did.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I'm saying?
I
So,
can see that.
you know, it's all good. But yeah. But they always going to have problems with women. The over emotional type. They always going to have the issues with the women because self-control, right, is vital to your campaign. I mean, it's for women, it's for men.
Yeah. It could one wrong move, it could destroy your whole world.
If you think about, I feel like laying back in the chair, but I don't want to get too comfy. If you think about a lot of relationship advice, dating advice, or whatever, a lot of that shit is geared toward how can I control the next person. If you really pay attention, and you gotta really listen, you really gotta listen with a discerning ear. You can't just listen. It's geared on how can I get you to do what I want you to do.
Oh,
And to me, this is why a lot of people keep failing in relationships or situationships or marriages or whatever they get themselves into with the opposite sex, because you've been trained as a woman, I've been trained low key as a man on how to get what I want from somebody instead of controlling myself. So when it was time to control myself, I didn't have the skills to do that. And when I say control myself, I mean control my emotions.
so you succeeded in trying to control everybody else, but failed to control yourself.
At times in life, because look, there were times I dealt with women, right? And I try to dictate the outcome. I try to dictate the situation. I've been on dates with women, first dates or the first few dates with women or the first few exchanges with women, and not even been present because I was too busy worried about the future and the outcome that may never come. I was too busy worried about an expectation that I had. So for instance, right, let me give you an example. Excuse me. If what would happen was if I did something nice for a woman, right? A lot of times it was I did something nice with the expectation that she would do something nice back. Not even thinking if I'm gonna do this for this woman, it got to be no strings attached, because I may not get the outcome that I expect.
Right.
It'd be nice if she did something nice back, but that's not always gonna be the case.
And that will hurt your happiness.
That will, one, is gonna irritate me.
Right.
And two, is gonna bruise my little ego that I got. You know what I mean?
Little.
It's gonna bruise my little ego. And it's gonna make me mad. Well, not mad, but it's gonna cause an irritation where I'm not gonna want to do anything nice again. And to be honest, that ain't even really how a player should roll. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna do something, you should throw it out the kindness of your heart. That's just who you is. You know what I mean? So I've been in that situation, and all of these things cause men to stay up at night. Oh, women too. All of these things cause us the heartache that we really don't need, and we bring on ourselves because we're not controlling ourselves and how we feel, you know, on the inside, and how we perceive and comprehend our exchanges with other people. So, you know,
Yeah, you're so focused on the future. You know, a lot of times women, we do fantasize about the future so much. When we meet a guy, we are thinking about, especially if we like him, we're not thinking about him and what he's doing with us in the process currently. We're thinking about 2-3 years down the line. We possibly are thinking about the kids we'll have with him, the marriage, all of that. And we're not thinking about who he is as a man and what he's doing for us currently.
well, y'all missed the moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We do.
A lot of people miss the moment. So when you too far into the future and you missing that, damn man, this person ain't crap, or this person treating me like crap today.
Right.
But you already attach yourself
To the future.
to an outcome that may never come. And a lot of times it never comes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So controlling yourself is vital to your campaign. I mean, really, honestly, that's really the only game you really need as a man on the dating scene. If you a man and you gonna get out here and try to control women and you don't have control over yourself, my brother, you're gonna have so many heartaches and disappointments. I feel sorry for you at the end, because you're not gonna be able to sustain that. Because look, I never met a man that ain't have a problem with a woman. I ain't never meet, and this all races, ages, classes. I ain't never meet a man that ain't been done dirty by a woman. I ain't never met a man that woman ain't give him a headache.
I mean, Jay-Z.
I mean, it doesn't matter. You can name them. You know what I mean? Look at Will Smith. I mean, like, look at some of these guys right now. So what I'm saying is, the men that succeed is the men that can stay in control. once you lose control of yourself and the situation, because that's the only thing we can control. See, in life, we think we can even control our children. This is how sick it has got. Now, we can influence our kids. We can even put fear in our kids. But you was a young woman before. I was a young man. We know at the end of the day, we're going to do what we want to do.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, that's just bottom line. So we got all these false attachments that's not real. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's about self-control. So like when I hear a lot of advice and stuff given, particularly to men, I just laugh because I'm like, dog, if you think that you're going to control a woman long term with those tactics, you got another thing coming.
Right. The hardest things, one of the hardest things is mastering your impulses. I think that's one of the top hardest things in life because yeah, it's just one of the most difficult things. And I think if we have kids, we should train them to learn how to do that. So it'll be easier in the end for them to control themselves. We have an impulsion to do things like sleep around or eat more than we should or just do things that may be detrimental to our future and to our bodies and to our mental health.
Well, it's like this in life. You know, you got to value information. You know what I mean? You got to value information and you got to value experiences.
Mm-hmm.
One is the information and two is the experiences. And I say that because the more information we got, right, as a person, you know, just the less stupid crap you're going to do. You dig? You thirsty? So at the end of the day, it's like this. Had some of our grandparents had all the information on diabetes or high blood pressure or this, that, and the other, maybe they would have changed their diet. But all they was told was eat it because it's good. Or maybe they did. They just didn't listen. Had we had all the information, 10 years ago on crypto,
yeah,
right? Maybe we'd be millionaires today, right? Had we had all the information. That's why in life, you got to value information. That's my thing. And you got to value experiences. So controlling your impulses and all of that. Well, a lot of us don't digest enough information. We spend a lot of time listening to crap on social media, whatever people doing on social media. We spend a lot of time listening to the wrong stuff. And the stuff, the information that we're going to need to really survive, a lot of time we bypass that to digest junk. I think that should be a balance. What's going on, V from the Man Cave? That should be a balance, right? Like, I got some days I don't even listen to hip hop. Like, you heard me before we came up here. I was in the back. I had my gospel on. Yeah, like, I'm dead serious, and people probably think I'd be lying. I might go 2 or 3 days sometimes without even listening to rap on my own accord because I need to flush some of that stuff out of my system.
That's true. And
I need to feed my spirit. So all I'm saying is find a balance.
Right.
That's for me, because I know people want what they want, but I'm like, look, ain't nobody telling you to become a saint or become a nun or become the damn Dalai Lama. Right. I'm saying, I mean? Have a balance in your life, right, where you can function. If you digest all hip hop, right, and you don't listen to any R&B, you don't listen to no classical, you don't listen to no jazz, you don't listen to dog. What? How do you think your damn week gonna go? I mean, you're gonna be so aggressive, your ego gonna be out of control, tense, and you're gonna be horny as hell. And mad tense. And mad. Let me say it again. Give me some of that shit. You're gonna be mad tense.
Your workouts is gonna be A1, but other than that,
Kanye's workout plan. You know what I mean? You're gonna be mad tense, yo. So some days I cut the shit off like 2 and 3 days, and I just get on my R&B bag, and I'll come back to the hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, even in the gym, like, you know the funny part?
What?
Let me tell you a secret. This is a secret. I'm telling you. This is a secret. Let me tell you something funny. This is the funniest shit ever. Like, you know how I be having that look on my face, right? I be
That tense look.
just, I look like a soldier.
Batman.
I look like a soldier. I look like I've been to a couple war zones. You see the hat, right? This is my homage to the 1st Cavalry Division. So, a lot of times, I know people be thinking I'm in the gym listening to DMX because I be in there. Stop! Drop! Shut them down, open up shop. I be in there wilding, right?
No.
People probably be thinking I be listening to X. I be in there listening to Beyonce like a month.
God.
You don't like it? You should have been a me. This is true story. I be in there listening to Beyonce like a mother blugger. You know what I mean? All my niggas, let me get information. This is true story. I know they think I be listening to some hardcore Ice Cubes. I know they think I'm listening to some old school Trick Daddy sometime.
Oh my God.
What I do? A lot of time, if you put in my earbud,
Drunk in love.
it be some Rihanna like a motherfucker, man.
Oh my God.
We found love in a hopeless place. Real talk. I be on my Beyonce. So anyway, moving on.
Too hot.
Now this is true story, man. And cause I be having a look, and like I already know what look people be saying, like you always scowling. Man, if you put in my earbud, man, you gonna be like this guy. Yo, one day I was up in there with the Katy Perry on. This is true story.
That's so funny.
But you know what I mean? But it's not always hip hop. And then I got my days where it's nothing but hardcore rap. So but that's a balance.
Right.
I'm not, you know what I mean? I don't consider myself a typical, you know what I mean, like Negro. I listen to a little bit of everything, man. You know what I mean? It's not what you think it is. It's kind of like I was telling somebody one day. I was like, yo, I like the well, not really lately. I was like, yo, I like to write poetry. And
Aww.
they kind of had a look on their face like, you
Not
a
you.
simp. Yeah, I like my poetry back. And let me get into that in a minute. Yo, shout out to my poets out there, man. I got a lot of love for y'all.
Aw.
Let me go ahead and make my man a moderator. So, boom. I used to like to write poetry, and I like to read poetry and this, that, and the other. So, boom. I was telling somebody this one day, and they kind of looked at me like I was a simp, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm like, well, even though I like to write poetry, I still break your jawbone. Like, this is a true story because they think you soft. And it's hard for me to even tell a lot of dudes that because they put you in a category like, oh, you're a simp and all. But it's like, well, would I be a simp if I break your whole jaw? Like this little clavicle joint, like real talk right here. Like what if I hit you right? That would probably hurt you. So, you know, it's just one of them things that's really, you know, because back in the day, yo, I was coming up in the 90s where dudes was on the poetry, the Love Jones. Dudes was really in a brown sugar bag. You know what I'm saying? We had D'Angelo. Hold on. We had
LL Cool J.
Yeah.
I mean, he used to write songs like love raps.
Yeah, but that was back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And, but he still made Mama Said Knock You Out too. Don't get it twisted. But that was the era where dudes, you know what I mean? They was riding around listening to D'Angelo, Brown Sugar Babe. And it was cool to be cool.
Right.
Now, these dudes is too cool for their own self. Yo, do you know how many dudes mess up the club or mess up the lounge by, okay, like you're a woman, so you'll go up in the club and it's mad dudes standing there ice grilling the chicks, mean mugging, not smiling. Do you know how many women be like, nah, I ain't going to here tonight? Because these Negroes mess up the whole night, and then you'll have 2 and 3 cats. They might be on the dance floor, grooving, dancing, or they could be dancing with their girls or whatever.
Uh-huh. And
everybody looking at them, fishbowling them like they doing something wrong.
like, why you having fun?
Bam. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, y'all dudes came to the club to ice grill a woman.
Yeah.
Like, this is 2022 behavior that I wouldn't have never thought that it would fly. I'm from Baltimore. Like we dancers, man. Like we came up dancing, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just what we do. We came up on house music. We came up battle dancing. Dog, when I was in like, I think it was like 4th or 5th grade, yo, this is real talk. Dudes took the pop lock into it so much of another level. Yo, the pop, if you ain't know how to pop lock back, I mean, the teacher would get so mad because we would have to walk in lines in the hallway to go to the bathroom or cafeteria or something like that. Yo, real talk, if you ain't know how to pop lock, you was gonna have a hard year, man, because when you crossing each other in line like this, you might see your man like, yo, this dude, man, you know what I'm saying? What's up with your man? You know, you ain't supposed to be talking in line anyway.
Right.
But he just might pop on you like, yo, man. Well, you know what I mean? And then it'll start, everybody be like, you know, I just see dudes fall on the floor, come up, like, you know what I mean? All this shit. And I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? Then I come like, hold on. You know what I mean? It's always the second dude that be like, what? Oh, you know what I mean?
That ain't nothing.
You know what I mean?
That's how it was with Getting Light in
Real talk.
in New York.
Yeah, I mean, there's some dudes, you know what I mean? And then it evolved to the heel toe. And, yo, man, you had a lot of little...
So I have a question about this. So why was it so wrong to love a woman?
I mean, when? What era?
Like, it started in what? Was it the 70s? Or no. They were still singing and saying, you know, rap songs, but yeah. What era? When did it go down?
Okay.
When did it go downhill to say
let me help
you
you
love
out.
a woman?
Let me help you out. And I'm gonna speak from the era that I can speak on. It's certain eras I can't speak on. But honestly, man, rap music did not help black love per se. Rap music did not help black love. Speaking of Benzino, let me give you an example of how it didn't help. You don't remember, Eminem had these tapes back in the day. You probably could find the audio online somewhere. Eminem had these tapes where he was, it was called The Racist Hour. Back when he was a young man in Detroit, him and his boy used to make these little tapes. And Benzino got a hold of the tapes. This was one of the reasons he lost the Source magazine. But not again to all that. So Eminem was going in on black women on these tapes. You would have to hear it. Pardon me. Eminem had those tapes. And pardon me.
You okay?
No, I'm Gucci. So Eminem was going in on black women, right? Call them every name under the sun, for real.
Oh, no.
Like, I even heard the tapes and was disgusted, but here's the thing. Benzino got a hold of the tapes and was like, yo, he's a racist, da-da-da-da-da. Now, here's how foul it is. You get mad. So you, Benzino, you get mad at a white boy that's in hip hop calling black women all these names, bees and hoes and all that. All right, and I'm not saying that he's right for doing it, but what about the 20,000 rappers that's disrespecting sisters all day long?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But that's hip hop for you. It's an expectation in the hip hop community that you anti-family, even though a lot of these rappers are married, but they don't promote it.
Right.
I think now with like J and B and certain couples, that it's being promoted like a little bit, but there was a time where rappers didn't promote their wives, man. You see what I'm saying?
So
Hold on.
Sorry.
No, you good. I always forget when you chime in. So let me finish. And I'm gonna let you rock out for a minute. So there was an expectation in hip hop, like, you know what? We ain't gonna talk about that. And a lot of these guys were secretly married too.
Right.
Like have families, kids in private school, all that.
Snoop Dogg.
I mean, all of this stuff, right?
Right.
But they knew they couldn't rap about it because essentially they selling poison to their own community. I mean, some of these guys are. Not all rappers, but a lot of these guys are. Hold on. So what I'm saying is hip hip hop did not help black love. Hip hop, there wasn't a market in rap music to promote black love. Now we had the R&B side. You had the Keith Sweats. They was singing. Woo, woo, woo. They was real players. They was all that back in the day. But eventually, hip hop seeped its way into R&B. So now you got what you got now, with all of these dudes singing, pretty much singing rap lyrics, and it's deeply misogynistic, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot more to it, but you can track any culture by listening to the music, man. If you go back to the 1930s or 1940s and the BB Kings, and go back to the Ray Charles or whatever, listen to what they sung about. You go back to the Marvin Gayes, you know what I mean? What's going on? I mean, you can track a culture by its music, man, because, you know, music is just an expression of where you at.
Right.
So at the end of the day, hip hop put the final, you know, this when gangster rap came out, NWA and all, it put the final nail in the coffin for many aspects of black love, and it turned everybody aggressive. Hold on, including the women,
Right.
a lot of the dudes, and now you got a lot of family men. It's almost like a subculture now. Like honestly, the husbands of the world, it's almost like a subculture, or the fiancés or guys that's just traditional. It's like a subculture now. You got to look at the main culture. The main culture of a lot of this stuff is, I want to be a player, even though I don't know how to be a player. You know, I want to just run the streets forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Go ahead.
So to prove that they are heartless, because it seems like they have to prove that they're heartless and they don't give a damn about anything. They cannot show that they love a woman to prove how hard they are.
I'm saying hip hop is a business, right? A record label, even though Snoop Dogg has a wife and kids and been married over, you know, 20 some years, maybe almost 30 years, a record label is not going to pay Snoop Dogg to rap about his family. Snoop Dogg has to rap about what sells records. Murder was the case that they gave me, or whatever the case is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And all the other rappers that are married, you know what I mean? It just is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
I understand.
you know, I'm not blaming it solely on hip hop, but what I'm saying is hip hop heavily influenced black culture to the point, I swear, I put this on everything. I was on Instagram earlier, and I was going down my feed, and I seen Pastor Jamal Bryant, one of the most famous preachers, black preachers in this country and the world. He was he posted up a workout video to Push and P.
Come on, man.
I can show you right now. No, I ain't capping. For everybody that think I'm lying, y'all go to
Wow.
Jamal Bryant's, the pastor of New Birth in
Giselle
Georgia.
Bryant's ex.
Jamal Bryant was doing a workout video to Push and P. And that shows you how much hip hop has seeped into anything traditional. You know what I'm saying? Anything traditional. So this is what it is, man. Traditional men are a subculture in the hip hop community. It is.
That's crazy.
It is a subculture. Why you think places like China has banned hip hop? Ask yourself, like, be honest with yourself, because look, Western culture is spread in a lot of places, but at the end of the day, they trying to keep that family traditional values. Like, you know, China has the longest uninterrupted culture in the history of the world. It's like that for a reason.
It was interrupted by communism, but yeah, I understand.
We getting technical. I mean,
You know,
what we doing? I mean,
that probably should- but yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Seeker of Truth, thank you for that $10 super chat.
I like
Emotional
that name.
control. Emotional control helps a man navigate with women and a magnitude of situations. Many rappers have very little emotional maturity and control. Appreciate that $10 super chat, dog. So, you know, but this is why China has been a world power. And even when, you know, they took hits because they had the opium crisis and a lot of different things, but they was able to rebuild so fast because their tradition stayed intact. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Their traditional values and what they believe in and things of that nature. So, they did ban hip hop. This is why if you get caught with a little baggie of marijuana in China, you might do 35 months in a Chinese prison. You know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna play with you because they understand. You know what I mean? They understand that if we allow these disruptions, it can throw off everything we built. Chinese, Asian people in particular, but especially Chinese, they don't even live for this generation. They live for like 2 generations after them.
They don't believe in anything gateway, anything that could possibly.
They don't believe in nothing. I mean, I'm not going to say nothing now because I'd be overdoing it, but they thoroughly understand. Even the ones that come to this country, even the ones that come to this country with nothing or, close to nothing, or even if they come with a little bit of something,
right?
They still not thinking about their generation. They thinking about their grandchildren. Right. Everything the parents hustle for,
they're progressive.
The children. So if some Asian parents, well, Asian people, I say Asian parents. So if some Asian, like let's say a Chinese man and a Chinese woman come to this country, they've been married in China. They come to the country, they land somewhere in
New York, Chinatown.
Yeah, whatever, somewhere on the East Coast, right? Like they landed somewhere, Patterson, New Jersey or something. I don't know.
Ellis Island.
Oh my. Yeah, that was funny. Nah, real talk. I don't know, man. I got Patterson, New Jersey on my mind. I just feel like a lot of people landed Patterson. So they landed in Patterson, New Jersey. And they're like, you know what? These little chips that we got racked up, we're going to open up a store right there in the hood. Or like they come in Irvington. You know what I mean? I like Irvington too. You know what I mean? Shout out to Irvington. So boom. They ended up in Irvington, New Jersey. They opened up a corner store. You know what I'm saying? Right in the heart in the hood.
Chang and Mei Ling.
All that, right? But they slanging anything you want. They slanging Dutchess, Juicy Juice. They slanging bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches, weave, socks, bandanas. You know what I mean? They got it all, right? One-stop shop.
Right.
And so what they do is, boom, they start popping out some kids. Now the kids gonna work in that store. You know what I'm saying? While they young. Until it's time to send them off to college.
They're known to be great businessmen.
Well, what I'm saying, and now the grandkids, they never got to work in that store. They already superseded that. That store is probably no longer owned by that family. By the time, or like they opened up a nail shop or whatever, by the time they get finished, right, with that second generation, they already middle class. They already think about 2 generations after that. You know what I mean? It's like, not to get too deep into this, it's nothing for an Asian man to come to this country and say, you know what? I'm going to do nails. If an Asian man decided to open up a nail salon, he won't be considered less masculine.
Right.
If a black man tries something like this, what they going to call him? G-A.
Oh, sorry.
You already said it, but, but that's what they going to call him. You know what I'm saying? So we have a problem in culture, too.
Yeah.
Do you know how much a nail salon racks up, and you know how much these women pay for nails and feet? Like, honestly, you probably can make almost $300,000 to $400,000 a year doing nails and feet.
Damn.
They come over here with no pride. They don't care about you questioning their masculinity. They do it, bust it down, send their kids to college. Their kids go to the best colleges and end up the bosses of your kids. Why? Because you got too much pride to do this. You see what I'm saying? It's a different mentality.
Right.
Like, black men are really in a box that we cannot shake. You know what I mean? For real. We are in a box that we cannot shake because everything is about our ego and masculinity.
That's true.
A lot of, and most of it is tied to our penis.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? We too busy trying to be swaggy. And you got people coming to this country and passing you up because you're too busy trying to be cool. Like, it's nothing for people to come from other countries and do menial labor, but they don't have that same cultural pressure, that cultural prison like we do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, it's all jacked up, people. I don't even know how I got too deep into that, but I thought it would be a good conversation.
No, you're right. I think more black men should open up nail salons.
I mean, like, whatever.
Yeah.
You got these women spending $200, $250, $300 to get their nails and feet done.
It's quite sad.
And we send all that to the Asian community, and no, I mean, that's crazy.
Right, it's quite sad.
This
You're
is
right.
why got a wellness center coming soon. I got big announcements. But anyway, I just had to plug it in. You know what I mean? We talking about businesses.
Right.
Why not plug a business, right?
Black-owned business.
Why not plug a business, right?
Black
You know what I mean?
organization. You know, shout out to my brother. He taught me that a fool is a person who knows the knowledge but do not apply it. And wisdom, a wise person knows the knowledge and applies it. You know, that's why sometimes when we're in love, we're like, I'm a fool for you because I know what's right and I choose not to do it. So a lot of times we may know the knowledge, and I was going to mention this. A lot of times we may know the knowledge, but we have a choice to make, to be a fool or to be wise.
Well, it all comes back full circle to control, right? So we come back to the control conversation, and we're going to go ahead and start to wind this down, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when you are in, full control of yourself, not just yourself, but you in control of your emotions, you in control of your thoughts, you in control of the people, place, and things that you put yourself around. At the end of the day, you'll fare a lot better. A lot of us are out here winging it, man. Let's just be honest. A lot of us out dating lives, we just winging it, right? We hope we bump into a bad chick that day, right?
Right.
A lot of women hope they bump into Prince Charming that day, or whatever the case, whatever women, or they hope they bump into a Jamaican nigga named Dutty. You know what I mean? You know, Dutty be blowing their back out. Don't never let your girl go to Jamaica without you. You're highly regretting. So, but a lot of people just winging it. Like, I hope I meet somebody. I hope I do this. Nah, man, that's cap. We can control the places we go. We can control the people we around. We can control what we take in as far as media, as far as anything like that. We can control these things, but again, we find ourselves in situations that's really not helping our campaign. Anything you do in life, right? You should tell yourself this, or ask yourself this rather. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be from smoking a blunt. It could be from taking a drink, or it can be just what you eat. How is it helping you?
Right.
You know what I mean? And be honest with yourself. Like, so for instance, you got a lot of women think that they can do what men do, right? Oh, I'm gonna get out here, I'm gonna get me a roster, I'm gonna talk to 3, 4, 5 different dudes, whatever. But
Hell no.
with that mentality, even though a woman can handle it on his face, she can keep up with 3, 4, 5 different dudes, but you gotta ask her, she gotta ask herself, how is that helping her? Is that helping the heartache? Is that helping the paranoia? Is that helping the vag getting stretched out? Is that helping the STD scares? Is that helping just that peace of mind, the pregnancy scares, all this stuff? So when it's all said and done, and that same woman put it on a scale, she realized, well, even though I had this mindset that I can do whatever a man can do, or I'm a do what they tell us in the feminist movement, it's not helping me. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the wellness of her personal life, not her ego, not the cap she doing around her friends or whatever. It's not helping this woman because the price is too much. One pregnancy scare should be enough for a woman, or one abortion, or whatever the hell they into. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Or like you even got some dudes or whatever. Like, every dude can't handle 3, 4, 5 different women. So that same man gotta ask himself, well, although you chose this lifestyle, how is it helping you? Is it keeping you from making money? Is it keeping you from bettering yourself, spending all this time with these women?
All
is
of the
it
above.
You know what I mean? Do you got the STDs and the baby mothers that come with all these? Because all this stuff come with it. Do you whatever the case? Excuse me. Whatever the case, how is it helping you?
And you said that. You said that a lot of times this whole player movement, they don't show the downside of that.
Well, I'm not mad at real players. See, hold on. I got a problem with fake players because real players are in control. It goes back to what we said. Real players ain't manipulating women. Real players ain't got to lie to a woman. They just know how to play. They players. And when I say play, I just mean the game of life. They know how to maneuver. They in control. But a lot of times, a lot of people aren't talking about the downsides. This shit come with everything. You know what I mean? It's just inevitable, man. If you sleeping with a bunch of women, you got a bunch of women in your life, you gonna tell me you ain't got no drama? That's cap. The drama come with it. You gotta know how to navigate it.
Right.
You ain't, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got no baby mothers. You ain't got no pregnancy scares. How many abortions you pay for, dog? I mean, this stuff get real. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Women showing up to your job, fighting like dogs, women calling your moms and all. I mean, this stuff go deep. So it come with the drama. You gotta ask yourself, how is it helping you?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Every person got to ask themselves about any activities you're doing in life. And it's about being in control. You can do what you want to do. But once things get out of control and out of your reach, so to speak, this is when things turn very sloppy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very, very sloppy and shit. So I always look out for that. I remember that was a time in my life I was wilding with the women. Wilding. I can't even tell half these stories online.
Oh, wow.
And
How wild.
I got pretty wild, like category 10. You know what I'm saying? Like on some category 10. And I mean, it's wow.
Glad that's in the past.
So it got out of my reach because I got complacent and comfortable, and I thought I had it on autopilot, not understanding that, you know what I mean, you got to take time to recalibrate and retune these things.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of that little run at that era in my life, it got so sloppy, man. Everything I touched went to hell. Like I felt like Ghost on Power. Like I was touching, like even people that ain't had nothing to do with me living like I was living, even they was affected. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like just a true story. I would never lie. Like my kids, you know what I'm saying? Family members. I got distant from family. Like I got real deep into this shit with these bros, man. At one point, I got really deep with it, and that's why I tell people all the time on my channel, don't go too far into the shadows, man, because we can go too far, and we think it's cool, we having fun, but a lot of times, man, we don't see the irreversible damage that we doing to ourselves. I mean, to the point I ain't even had time for family and shit because I was.
That. I like what you said. Irreversible damage. It's kind of like being broken beyond repair.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
well,
a sad point.
yeah, I mean, like we get ourselves into these situations and think that it's gonna be sweet forever. Ain't nothing that good when you lose control. See, in life we should only do things we can handle. And you know, although I was handling business at first, it got sloppy, and that just go to show I started to drive out my lane, and I got into something that I thought that I can handle. And I mean, I mean, if I was a young man, like,
Do you think
it's got crazy.
We want others to be wise and choose the wisdom while we continue to choose being a fool?
I think on a lot of different levels, we want to do what we want to do. I mean, like, look at all these dudes online. Look at all these dudes in Black YouTube that all they do was talk about, yeah, the Black community destroyed because the Black family, ain't no fathers in the house. But these dudes don't choose to get married. And then on top of that, you find out they got mad baby moms and all that type of stuff.
Right.
So, you know, everybody got the answer. Everybody got the solution. But don't nobody want to put in the work.
That's true.
Like this is Black YouTube at its finest, man.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Like there'll be men that tell you, "Hey, I want you to have my baby," and you're like, "Why do you don't want me to be your wife? You want me to be your baby mother?" Like, so you just willingly adding to the dysfunction. And it'll be the main person that speaks about families and and why the
I can imagine.
it's so sad.
I can imagine, and that's why I don't listen to that stuff because I know it's cap. It's like everybody got a solution, everybody got this, but
Everybody want everybody else to do it.
yeah, you know what I mean. Everybody got something to say, but when it come down to the real work, don't nobody really want to do it. But don't nobody want to just come online and be honest. Like, look, I don't give a damn about the black family. I don't care about it, or whatever the case. I don't give a damn about family in general. All I want to do is have my fun. All I want to do is live through my penis for the rest of my days, and the hell with the community. I would rather hear that than the cap. Truth be told, I could deal with truth. I mean, I like it. I could deal with truth to be like, look, all I want to do is sleep around with some young women for the rest of my life, and I want to go out like that. I'd be like, all right, I may not agree, but at least I know what to expect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All this capping. Oh, you know what I mean? It's the family, and we ain't got fathers in the homes, and we got this matriarchy, and da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? And all this crap. You know what I mean? The gynocracy shit. And then at the end of the day, in the same thing, the very same breath, well, I don't want no family. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that.
This plays into emotional, unstable men.
This plays into too many women giving lames and clowns sex. Period. I got it. Period.
You're right.
At the end of the day,
You're definitely right.
the men doing what they supposed to do. Hold on. I said this the other day. And we're going to go ahead and close it right here. A lot of these clowns, a lot of these lames, and I call them lames because they act like it. Anytime you don't take accountability in my book, you're a lame. All these dudes, they doing what they supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? They out here, they trying to get what they want, and they don't want things to change because if things change, they got to step their game up.
Right.
So they want a bunch of women without fathers with low self-esteem. They want a bunch of women that ain't never been protected. They want messed up communities that's drug-ridden and dilapidated houses and all that. They want all of these messed up, psychologically damaged women so they can have their way. This is how a lot of dudes, it's the only way they even get a lot of sex out here. Because if they had to do it on a strong arm, if they had to get out here and do it straight up, they wouldn't stand a chance. Right. So they can play all these crazy games on those type of women, but when it comes to a stand-up woman that a dude got to rise to the occasion, he ain't gonna stand a chance because he know he got to elevate his whole campaign. So, you know, all that shit is cap. But we're gonna go ahead and wind it down. We've been on here for a while. Ladies and gentlemen, we talked about a lot of different things. This was pretty good podcast, man. And you know, we just chopping it up, man. We got the co-host with the most. We got Rose in the building, man. And look, ladies and gentlemen, Benzino, he has lost his mind and his neck, people. You know what I mean? I ain't got no problem with Benzino, man. When he was the owner of the Source magazine, man, I thought he was a pretty cool dude. But he always been wild. But now he's unstable. And emotional dudes like Benzino, they never gonna win in the end. It's not set up for him to win. Look at him. Crying. Wanting to fight a man. Having a steroid rage. Just a complete whack excuse of being a man. You know what I mean? You got to get back to some control. Period. You ain't gonna tell me Benzino not on steroids, man. Look at him. Where's his neck? Somebody put an APB out on Benzino's neck. I want to find him. You know, real talk. I mean, this guy's crazy. Benzino has the body of a turtle. Look at him. Like she laughing. Benzino has the body of a turtle. Like you walk around inside of a turtle shell. I mean, the guy got to turn like this. What up, Titi? Titi. Benzino's a clown, man. But, I mean, for him to have that display of effery that he had, for him to start crying lets me know with some other things in the play. I think Benzino needs to. This guy's 55 years old as well. Benzino's not 25, people. Benzino's not 18. He's not even 35. Benzino's 55, man. Real talk. Benzino is 55 years old. And at the end of the day, I really hope he get it together. So we're going to go ahead. Shout out to everybody, man. Follow me on Instagram at C-Boogie Production, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate anybody that super chatted, man. You can hit us up on Cash App at $BaltimoreBoogie. A quick announcement. We got the digital summit, virtual summit rather. Y'all go check my community tab. I'm going to put it in my description box. We got the virtual summit May 7th, 3 p.m. Eastern. Y'all go ahead and sign up. It's going to be lit. We got some good speakers. You know, a lot of people that couldn't ever attend the real summit in person, y'all got a chance to come to a virtual summit. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of good information. It's going to be a lot of good interactions, a lot of good conversations, man. So y'all go ahead and sign up for that May 7th, and it's going to be